if you don't allow for change, if you don't allow for growth, if you don't allow for circumstances to change, even that attitude of overcoming can become negative. Because I had to allow for change. My body had decided that, you know, like, the myelin on my nerves is breaking down. That it's not under my control. I can't think my way out of this problem.
When Thea Farmer was diagnosed with dermatomyositis and Charcot-2 syndrome, she turned her life around by being gentle with her body, yet living her life to the fullest. As a mother, educator, and role model, she's a symbol for empowerment. What is dermatomyositis?
Dermatomyositis is an autoimmune disease that affects girls, generally between the ages of 8 and 11, and they have no idea what causes it, but it's an autoimmune disease that all autoimmune diseases are your immune system essentially getting confused and attacking something. So for dermatomyositis, what it does is it attacks your muscle tissue. And so you're perfectly healthy one day, and then a week later you can't raise your arms above your head. So,
what is Charcot-Marie-Tooth?
Charcot-Marie-Tooth syndrome is basically it's a form of muscular dystrophy. It's still under that umbrella, and it's a genetic form of basically your nerves not conducting right. So your nerves, if you imagine your nerves all over your body as an electrical cord that sends electricity, what's wrong with my nerves is they don't have that plastic coating on an electrical cord that enables the electricity to go through them. So signals get messed up, they get misinterpreted, they get sent to wrong places, and then eventually that affects your muscles. And then eventually it affects your skeletal system because you're compensating, and so it's one of those things where it seems really simple, and then over time, when you have it, it has all sorts of interesting consequences.
Is there a cure for these disorders, and what is the best way to treat it?
For dermatomyositis, there isn't a cure. There's a treatment that can keep you from dying, and the best treatment that they still have is high doses of prednisone. And for people that have familiarity with prednisone, it's almost one of those things like what's worse, the treatment or the disease? And in my case, prednisone saved my life, but it's a rough drug to take, especially starting from age 8 to going into puberty. It's not an easy drug to be on in that part of your life. And Charcot-Marie-Tooth, there's no sort of cure. The best you can do is stick with a active program. Use it or lose it, which actually at a certain point can start to harm you, as I've found out as I've gotten older. But it's one of those things that CMT never goes away. It's a progressive illness, so you just kind of flow with it is the best way to deal with it.
What or whom empowered or disempowered or both when you first discovered you had it?
Oh gosh. Well, it was empowering in the first place to get a diagnosis. The dermatomyositis and the Charcot-Marie-Tooth for me was diagnosed on the same day. Basically what happened was I was in a show, my first real community production play of Annie. I was in production of Annie. I played Molly. And if you've ever seen the movie, she's the little whiny one. But I played Molly, and I began rehearsals, and I could do everything just fine. I could do all of the dance moves. I could do all of the blocking, all of that. And then by the time we were about 2 weeks away from opening the show, I couldn't do any of the choreography anymore. And I went to my pediatrician, and the pediatrician told my parents, I found out later, her blood test came back, and she either has leukemia or this really rare disease called dermatomyositis. So get geared up for fighting leukemia. It was a relief to have the diagnosis for a Charcot-Marie tooth, because I had always been clumsy. There had always been something off, something wrong, and it's hard not to internalize that when you're a kid. And kids aren't stupid. They can see when they're different. They can observe that, you know, something's off about me. Being disempowered, I think to some extent my parents were disempowered because, number one, they were in the middle of a whirlwind of stuff. Because my brother, I was diagnosed in November of 1988, and later that summer my brother was in a car accident, and he had a head injury. It was a difficult time. So it was disempowering in a lot of ways, and also not going to school.
Was that the darkest hour?
The darkest hour relating to the physical disability was when I was in my second year of college-ish, and I was starting to get my feet under me in terms of who I was, what I wanted to do, and the Charcot-Marie tooth disease started to progress, which is not unusual at that age. There's sort of like these plateaus, and then there can be times of progression where things get worse. And I hadn't realized how healthy I had truly been until things started getting worse pretty quick. And that was the darkest hour, because it was so out of my control, and it was so bad timing. I felt like it was bad timing. I got mad at God because of the timing. I'd found my niche in school. I'd found this, I'd found that, and how dare you start to change the rules. I became pissed off at my body when I was 8 years old, and it kind of just snowballed from there. And that was the war. That was when it really started to become a war, like who's going to win, body or mind.
What did you learn from it?
I learned to give myself grace. And that lesson was really slow to come by.
Define your grace.
I learned to not view it as a moral failing if I was tired. Because before then it would be like, well, if you're tired, then, you know, fight through it, push through it. You know, you can fix this, you can do this. And I hit a wall where it wasn't physically possible to fight through it. When my body needed rest, it needed rest. And that's when the self-medicating started too, which played into a lot of my other struggles, because there were no answers, and I didn't have the tools to fight to get answers.
What do you mean by self-medicating?
I started out a very normal drinker, and there were a couple of things I learned early on. Was that I was really good at it, and I didn't consider myself at the time very good at many things. So I discovered I could drink really well, whatever that means, right? But I also discovered that it would help me sleep. It numbed the pain. Or it made me perceive that it numbed the pain. And so that became a haven of, you know, say I'm in the middle of the day and I'm exhausted and I'm tired and I'm in pain. I know later that I can drink, so it became a tool. And it worked until it didn't work.
Having experienced all that, would you do it all over again? If yes or no, why?
I do it all over again. Well, there's a saying in a program that I am a member of. There's a saying that we will not regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it. And do I regret things? Yeah, I do. Certain things I regret actually doing them. It hurts my heart. It hurts my soul that I potentially put someone through something, or that I did put someone through. It hurts. But I wouldn't be where I am today if I didn't have those experiences, if I didn't live through what I needed to live through. Why? And even if it's something as simple as saying, what do you guys think I should know? I mean, trust your students, trust your group.
You are a symbol of empowerment. What would you say, Thea, to others who suffer from a physical challenge?
I would say, well, there's a couple of things I would say. Make peace with your body is the first one. Make peace with your body. Love it even when it betrays you. And by betray, I mean, doesn't allow you to do everything that your brain wants you to do. I think a lot of times when we talk about physical disability, we focus on the overcoming of obstacles, which is awesome, which is great, which is wonderful, which needs to happen. But there's victory in acceptance as well, a certain amount of acceptance. I don't want to necessarily inspire people by running a 5K. Number one, it would be bad for my body. It would be bad for my life. It would cause damage to my body. And I wish sometimes that we would focus more on overcoming challenges by accepting balance and accepting things. Not giving up, not being a doormat, but acceptance was really hard for me. I felt like I lost the battle if I accepted I had limitations. And now I accept the fact that I have limitations, but I'm not going to stop pushing my own limitations. I won't stop pushing, but I guess I'm just more gentle with myself now.
What did you want to be when you were a little girl?
When I was a little girl, first I wanted to be a prima ballerina. But yeah, that's what I wanted to do first, and then I wanted to be a veterinarian. But then, as I got a little older and a little wiser, I realized, okay, all I want to do is help people.
The world is yours. What is your dream now?
My dream is to pretty much do what I'm doing. I always wanted to have a foot in theater, and at the same time, like I said, my dream, my goal was to help people, assist people. I'm doing that right now, and it's amazing. It's more than I ever could have hoped for, and it took me a few months before I even started realizing that I had achieved it, because I was so focused on other things, but it took me a while to realize, oh my gosh, I'm actually, this is what I had hoped for.
What are you grateful for today?
I am grateful for, number one, I'm grateful for being alive. Being alive. there have been points in my life where I was not grateful for that simple fact. Other options seemed a lot better. But I'm grateful for being alive, and I'm grateful that my steps have led me where I am, which is having a supportive family and having a 4-year-old son who's flippin' amazing. Is pretty amazing. And also being alive and having the options to live my life to the fullest extent that I can. And that seems so cheesy and so cliche. But about a year ago, I had made peace and resigned myself to a few things, and I gave myself one more push and challenged myself to put on my big girl pants and go to another neurologist, go to another doctor, and say, do you have any other options? Look, I know you probably don't, but are there any other options for how I'm feeling, what I'm doing? And lo and behold, there were options that hadn't been there before. And so it showed me that I still have that drive, you know, to push it, but be gentle with myself. Because I had fully resigned myself to going into the doctor's office and having no answers. And you know, going away and going, okay, well, I know what I can keep doing, all right. But there were answers, and things did get a little bit better, and things did change a little bit. And that caused a lot of positive changes in my life.
Share us with what you're doing right now.
Right now, I work at a place called Recovery Innovations, and I work in the Recovery Education Center side of that. And basically, it's a place for anyone who wants recovery from anything to come and find options, explore options, receive help, sign up for help, just live their life to the fullest of wherever they want to go, however they want to get there. And so right now I'm teaching classes at the Recovery Education Center, and one of which is one that was developed by me, and one of which that's been there, that's part of a teaching certificate program to enable people to do the same thing, is to go on and use their life experiences to assist other people and to teach other people. So that's where I'm at now, and it's pretty darn amazing. It's pretty darn amazing.
Thank you, Thea.
Thank you.
Arrivederci Roma.
Bye.